Dr. Asadullah, President and Chancellor from Khaja Abdullah Ansari Law University, Afghanistan. Uh, also respected Dr. Swati Rautela, Madam, Professor and Head Department of Law, and all faculties, Department of Law, University of Mumbai. In this 1 hour online webinar on the topic of women empowerment, obstacle and challenges, now I request to virtual felicitation from Ms. Bindia Khan to Dr. Swati Rautela, Madam, Professor and Head Department of Law.
Thank you, Dr. Alka ma'am, for giving me this great opportunity once again to introduce the audience with this great honor to introduce to the audience with our honorable head of the department and professor, Dr. Swati Rautela ma'am. I, Ms. Bindia Khan, a former student and volunteer of the Constitutional Group, feel very privileged and proud to virtually felicitate our beloved and respected Professor Dr. Swati Rautela ma'am, who has touched the lives of all the students, faculties, and staff members with her helping and calm nature, and hence equally loved and admired by one and all in front of the global academic audience today. Our admirable professor had marked a great journey in this institution as LLM and research guide for MPhil and PhD students for the past 8 years and had been a coordinator for postgraduate in intellectual property rights for 6 years. To mark a few of ma'am's achievements and her legacy, ma'am has been a teacher in one of the most reputed and well-known colleges of Mumbai, that is S.K. Somaiya College of Arts, Science and Commerce, teaching business and mercantile law for straight 20 years. Ma'am has a great teaching experience of about 35 years, that is even more than most of us whole lifetime. She is just like a people tree, the older, the stronger, the deeper, and just like Gautam Buddha got enlightenment under this tree, same way we all the students are enlightened under her guidance. Ma'am had participated and coordinated with KC Law College in two international seminar of 2 days, presented research paper in international conference on COVID-19 nations in transition, organized by Ram Narayan Jhunjhunwala College of Science, BL Amlani College of Commerce, organized by 5-day webinar on multi-dimensional aspects of intellectual property rights in May 2020. Ma'am has also been delivering guest lectures on various topics of laws empowering women, laws for protecting women from sexual harassment at workplace, animal rights convention and treaties under Indian Constitution for postgraduate and undergraduate students. Ma'am had also participated and presented research papers in national and international conferences, published research articles in UGC recognized journals, and was invited to contribute as a resource person in UGC sponsored online refresher course in law planned by UGC HRDC, Gujarat University, Ahmedabad. And as the name UGC appeared, let me share with you all a personal experience. Few months ago, I was being interviewed in front of the UGC panel. The panel was of 6 members of very renowned persons of honor from all over the country. And the moment I took our HOD's name on being listened to of her name, on being inquired about my academics by them, all of their expressions changed into acknowledgement of her. Each one of them recognized her very well. I was awestruck. The meaning of spellbinded and bounded was realized once at the same time. I was like, oh my God, she's so big person, so huge. But her behavior, as I already said, very simple and pious, just like a saint, cool and calm. And yeah, of course, I cleared that interview. 50% of my nervousness flew just by her name, and the rest was all my training I received from the great University of Mumbai Law Department under ma'am's guidance. All this shows ma'am's great commitment and dedication towards the academics and stability in her life and career. Thus, in this field, ma'am has worked so hard for us with great devotion. The epitome of simplicity praised for her selfless service in this institution. Ma'am has looked equally upon everyone. I take immense pleasure in describing ma'am's excellent nature and caring behavior, which I myself have experienced. Ma'am, you will always be an inspiration to every student, teacher, because of your dedication to academics in the field of law. There are endless words to thank you, and we will be forever grateful to you. Hence, now I would like to welcome Dr. Swati Rautela ma'am herself to virtually felicitate our guest doctor.
Hello. Yeah. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, distinguished guest, Professor from Afghanistan, and Professor Sir is Chancellor in the Afghanistan University. Sir, we are very pleased to meet you, and we do. We are having the honor of having you in our program. So namaste and welcome you. And today you are going to discuss on the issue that is regarding the opportunities, challenges, and empowerment of women. And in this era of globalization, and where nations are coming together, and the nations are coming together, and we see that the distances have become less. So in this era where we are moving together, the women play important role, not only in the house as such, but even in the workforce. So today we have Dr. Asadullah Radman, President Chancellor Khaja Abdullah Ansari Law University, Afghanistan. Sir, I wholeheartedly welcome you from Department of Law, University of Mumbai. I thank my colleague, Dr. Alka Patil, for taking this initiative. And we all are looking forward towards the delivery of your lecture and how with obstacles, women are meeting the challenges. So this topic is really interesting, not only from the perspective of students, but also from the perspective of as a teacher, and also from the perspective of women, and what support system they have when they are meeting these challenges, not only from their office colleagues, but also at home. So definitely your lecture will be interesting, sir. I invite all my colleagues from the Department of Law, Dr. Rajashri Baradi ma'am, Professor, Senior Lecturer, and a Senior Professor in the Department of Law. But today we are having some interviews, so it is difficult for Madam to join right now. So kindly excuse Madam. We have Dr. Sanjay Jadhav, sir. He has joined the event, and two of our colleagues, Professor Sheetal Setia, Professor Dipali Patil, they are also joining the event. Our students are joining the event, and definitely they will inherit and cherish all the values and the valuable talk which you will be forwarding to our students. So welcome, sir, to this online platform. And whenever you are in Mumbai, we always will be welcoming you wholeheartedly to the Department of Law. So I thank you all for giving me this opportunity, and definitely we are waiting to listen to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hello, dear sir and madam. Good afternoon to all. I hope you are doing well. I am Dr. Asadullah Radman, Chancellor of Khaja Abdullah Ansari University from Afghanistan. I would like to thank Professor Alka Patil, who kindly welcomed me into this webinar. Also, the head of Department of Law, Professor Swati Rautela at the University of Mumbai, that organized this webinar. In this webinar, I am going to talk about women empowerment, obstacles, and challenges. I will share my speech. I divided my speech in 3 parts. First part is definition. Second part is obstacle and challenge. In this part, I will tell you some obstacle and challenges that are common in India and Afghanistan. Also, we have some global challenges that are general. And the third part is recommendation and solution for obstacle and challenge. So now we have a question. What is empowerment? Empowerment is the process of increasing the authority and responsibility of individual or group to make choice and to transform those choices into desired action and outcomes. Empowerment is not a technocratic goal. It is a wholesale political commitment. Achieving it requires a long-term process in which all cultural, social, political, and economic norms undergo fundamental change. What is the definition of woman empowerment? To give a generic definition is difficult as it is highly dependent on women's personal, economic, and social situation within their community. The World Bank says empowerment is the process of increasing the capacity of individuals or groups to make choice and to transform those choices into desired actions, into outcomes. Also, we have a lot of definition about women empowerment. So we cannot consider it to the World Bank definition. At the same time, the United Nations is not present definition, only present some compound. I think that is better to say which compound can help to raise and control the empowerment of women. First, United Nations says woman's sense of self-worth, the right to have and to determine choices, the right to have access to opportunities and resources, the right to have the power to control their own lives, both within and outside the home. And the end says their ability to influence the direction of social change to create a more just social and economic order, nationally and internationally. It can be national or internationally. So I told you we have a lot of definition, but I will define woman empowerment as the relative right is with which women have access to decision-making roles and can mobilize available legal, economic, social, and political capital to make and take decisions that affect their lives and those of others around them. Many times we are talking about empowerment, but we have opposite of empowerment, that is disempowerment. So now we have a question, what is empowerment? Any action, policy development, and real-life program or process through which women's and men's priorities, needs, and interests are further ignored, reducing their participation in decision-making. And representing an obstacle to their economic, political, and social improvement. I have the main question that is about obstacle and challenge. What are the main obstacles and challenges on women empowerment in Afghanistan, in India, or in the world? So when we talk about challenge, about obstacle, I think we need to compare between Afghanistan and India, or we talk up in the world in generally. So let me compare between India and Afghanistan, and the ends share the global challenge. Unfortunately, you know, women represent 50% of the world's population. It's real. Account for 67% of the world's working hours. I think it is so high. The women earn 10% of the world's income. I think it is so low. The women own 1% of the world's property. It is too low. Unfortunately, 70% of the world's poor are women and girls. Also, 62 million girls denied education all over in the world. You know, the government of Afghanistan, the Taliban, restricted all girls and all women from university, from school after 6th grade. And the second part of my speech is obstacle and challenge of women empowerment. I told you I have a question that what is the challenge and obstacle of women empowerment in India and Afghanistan? I think there are various obstacles and challenge which women generally face in the society in India and Afghanistan. Some of the major challenges and obstacles in Afghanistan and India are first challenge. First challenge is violence against women. You know, all forms of violence against women, physical and mental, whether at domestic or societal levels, including those arising from custom, traditions, or accepted practices, shall be dealt with effectively with a view to eliminate its incidents. But in India, according to the report of Crime Record Bureau of the Central Home Ministry, woman is getting kidnapped at every 44 minutes, raped at every 47 minutes, 17 dowry deaths every day. So extra, domestic violence with the family, child-related harassment, death, marital rape, wife bothering, sexual abuse, deprivation of healthy food, family genital mutilation, and extra. It can be outside of home, like kidnapping, rape, murder, extra. The second challenge is gender discrimination. Unfortunately, in India and Afghanistan, this challenge is so high. Girls, children are becoming real victims of the discrimination. There are also discrimination of power and both between men and women, you know. Why? Because of the patriarchal system families that is governed in Afghanistan and also in India. Gender discriminations affects women in the areas like nutrition, education, health, care, decline of family population, job, public life, etc. Also, the third challenge are family education. And above, I told, in Afghanistan, the government restricted the women's education. Women education percentage is low in India, especially in the rural areas, because they are discouraged for higher education, like professional and technical education. The level of women education is less than men, still in the modern age. Family literacy is higher in the rural areas. Sometimes you have some statistic where over 63% or more women remain unrelated. I think it is very high. But in Afghanistan, all universities closed for women. You know, the government restricted. In school, just they can learn to 6th class. After, they do not allow. So they need to go to school because they are 50% of the society. The fourth problems related to unemployment and earnings. Access to economic opportunity is not only important for women's empowerment, it also benefits their children and their households. Being employed with cash earning improves women's self-esteem and bargaining power within the household, increases their mobility and exposes them to new ideas. I think women are getting more problems in searching their suitable work. It's a reality. They become more prone to the exploitation and harassment in the work areas. They cannot work late night time. Also, in Afghanistan, they don't allow and restricted by the government. They must sit in home. They cannot go outside. They cannot go to the office. They cannot employed by any organization, by government, by university. In our university, we don't have any female staff. And now in our university, all the students, all girl students restricted, the door is closed. We cannot allow them to come to the university. So I think this is a big challenge. So what should we do? The fifth challenge are unbearable conditions for women. You know, women who are uneducated, more prone to divorce and desertion by their husband on any stage of life. They have to live whole life with fear of divorce. In some cases, they have to finish their life. They must finish their life because of an unbearable condition in their families, in their societies. Unfortunately, in Afghanistan, we have many cases the women finished their lives. They stopped. And the sixth challenge is increasing dowry. Unfortunately, increasing dowry is only in India. I think it is a big challenge, a big obstacle for their lives. Dowry system is another huge woman problem in society of India, which is increasing day by day. Why? Because the cost of marriage is going to high day by day. Women are ill-treated, manhandled, disrespected, tortured, and suffer other cruelties, violence, murder, and suicide. Why? Because of the lack of dowry at the time of marriage. It causes degradation of women's status to a great extent. In Afghanistan, we don't have dowry for girl, for women. It is only for boy. For example, when a person gets married, the dowry is to the man. And the 7 challenges are rights of the girl child. All forms of discrimination against the girl child and violation of her right shall be eliminated by undertaking strong measures, both preventive and punitive, within and outside the family. You know, it's a big challenge. So what should we do? A challenge is domestic violence. About domestic violence, I have a big research. Unfortunately, it is like endemic and widespread. This is affect almost 70% of Indian women, according to the Women and Child Development Official. It is performed by the husband, by brother, by father, relative, or other family member. Also in Afghanistan, it has a high rank. It can perform by father, by brother, by husband, by uncle, by other person in their family and outside of their family. So it's a challenge. The 9th challenge is a child marriage. Early marriage of the girls by the parents in order to escape from dowry in India. It's common. It is highly practiced in the rural India, not in the city. As in Afghanistan, we have many cases they did by their parents. Why? Because the parent needs their money. It is not possible in Afghanistan. Many girls get married and 14 years old. They are 14 years old. They must. So the 10th challenge is sexual harassment. It's the form of sexual exploitation of a girl child at home, streets, public places, in transportation, school, park, offices, extra by the family members, neighbors, friends, or relatives. So sexual harassment is another challenge to girl to woman. The 11th challenge is inadequate nutrition. You know, Afghanistan is a poor country. when the government fall down, everything destroyed. Inadequate nutrition in the childhood affects women in their later life, especially women belonging to the lower middle class and poor families. In India, it can be happen in rural places, but Afghanistan, all the people faces to inadequate nutrition. The 12 challenged women are considered as inferior to men. In Afghanistan, it is our customs. It comes from our custom. Sometimes it comes from the society. Women are inferior to men. In Islamic religions, the women and men are equal. But in practice, we are not equal. For example, they are not allowed to join military services. I think it happened in India in rural places too. They are not allowed to join military services. And the end challenge for women are ownership of assets. Ownership of valuable assets such as a house or land provides multiple avenues for empowerment. These assets may serve as a place to live or earn a livelihood, as collateral for loans or investment to expand economic or social opportunity. And a safety net against crisis among women. Sole ownership of a house or land is rare. Where is? In Afghanistan, unfortunately, this challenge is in high rate. It was the challenge of I found between India rurals and Afghanistan country. Also, we have challenge that is global. This is in general. For example, demography, leadership, food security and agriculture, sustainability and resource scarcity and conflict. There are general that is happening in global challenge. Sometimes it can be happening in places. When we talk about demography, unfortunately, demography is a global challenge. Women determine population trends by deciding how many children to have and when to have them. It's the question, but the women have not choices how many children to have and when to have them. In Afghanistan, it happens every year, but the women have not chance to choose them. Currently, a majority of married women of reproductive age 55% have the capacity to plan their pregnancy by using modern contraception, but they don't have this contraception. There are still 210 million women who would like to postpone their next pregnancy or stop childhood altogether, but are not using modern contraception. This is a global challenge. And the other challenge in the world is leadership. It can be happening in Afghanistan, it can be happening in Thailand, it can be happening in India, it can be happening in other world. So it's general. You know, women do not move up into strategic roles. How many women are president or vice president in the world? They do not move up into strategic roles. Why? Because they are not sponsored into them. It can be by custom, it can be by religions, it can be society, it can be men. The third challenge of global challenge is food security and agriculture. Given the increased global corporate attention on the worldwide food crisis, corporations interested in supporting meaningful food security interventions should be made better aware that women's empowerment is core issue for gainful solutions. How much it can be happening in the world. And the fourth global challenge is sustainability and resource scarcity. Women possess the knowledge, capabilities, and effective networks to drive real solutions in the area of sustainability and resource scarcity. Most importantly, they hold key roles across society that influence how to produce, consume, and market sustainability solutions and renewable energy technologies, from acting as energy consumers to caretakers, even to leaders and networks. And the end challenge of global challenge is conflict. A majority of displaced persons during and after wars, women and children who become the targets of atrocious acts. These acts are deliberate instruments of war used by the enemy. You know, it happened in Afghanistan a lot, unfortunately, because we had a long time war, but many women displaced from one place to another place. In their aftermath, they leave women and girls who suffer trauma, have lost their families, their livelihoods, suffer from HIV, from AIDS, and have no source of income or skills to secure jobs. Unfortunately, it's a global challenge. Sir, I don't know how much time do I have. Now I share my recommendation on solutions or finished my speech.
Thank you so much, sir. Pardon to all the eminent personalities gathered here. As due to some technical glitch, the introduction of our great guest honor was left behind. So let me take this distinct honor and privilege to extend a warm welcome to our esteemed guest speaker, Dr. Asadullah Ragman, a highly accomplished and distinguished individual Dr. Radman's journey in the fields of law and academia has been nothing short of inspiring. As a chancellor of Khaja Abdullah Ansari University in Herat, Afghanistan, Dr. Radman has been at the forefront of academic excellence and growth. Hailing from Afghanistan, Dr. Radman has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to academic excellence and social service throughout his career. Currently serving as the Chancellor of Khaja Abdullah Ansari University in Herat, and His Excellency has been instrumental in leading and nurturing the growth of this prestigious institution. His dedication to mentoring both staff and students has contributed significantly to its academic achievements. Dr. Radman's work experience is nothing short of impressive, with various roles spanning diverse fields. From the year 2017 to 2021, His Excellency as a defense attorney has tirelessly advocated for justice, focusing on cases related to violence against women, alimony, divorce, and civil matters. Additionally, his involvement in research projects such as the legal protection of women in the workplace in Afghanistan reflects his commitment to fostering gender equality and inclusivity. Throughout his career, Dr. Radman has been actively engaged in education both in Afghanistan and internationally as an instructor at Ghalib University and Kateb University. He has imparted knowledge on subjects like international criminal law, commercial law, family law, human rights, and child rights, shaping the minds of the next generation, and the coming generation. His editorial expertise was evident during his tenure as editor-in-chief at the University of Tehran from the year 2011 to 2015, where he played a crucial role in ensuring the quality and accuracy of published content while simultaneously providing community service is also commendable and remarkable. As seen in his volunteer work providing legal advice and assistance to Afghan immigrants in Iran. To augment his already illustrious profile, Dr. Radman earned a PhD in private law from the University of Tehran, a testament to his dedication to continuous learning and professional growth. In conclusion, Dr. Asadullah Radman's vast contributions to academia, his tireless efforts in promoting justice and human rights, and his commitment to serving the community make him an invaluable asset to our society and not only to his country but for the world. Let us extend a heartfelt welcome to this remarkable individual and embrace the wealth of knowledge which today we gather from him and wisdom he brought to us amidst us. So I will take this opportunity to really welcome him. And now I hand over to my colleague Madeline for the rest of the thing. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Bindu. Before I proceed, sir, I have a question. What advice do you have to women who want to work in a male-dominated field?
Ma'am, you are not audible. Please be a little louder.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Sir, there is a question. What advice do you have for women who want to work in a male-dominated society?
Ma'am, again, you are not audible.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible, but be a little louder.
Okay, can you hear me now? Bindya, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Mirlen. Go ahead.
Okay. So, what advice do you have for women who want to work in a male-dominated society?
No, it's not audible. Marlene, you just try to connect. That is then I just connect. Go ahead. Sir, was it audible to you? What she said? The question? Sir, can you hear us?
Me?
So, were you able to hear me?
Yes, I hear your voice, but your voice catches sometimes.
Okay. Is this better now?
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay. So, the question is, what advice do you have for women who want to work in a male-dominated field? Maybe the political areas or any other field where generally the male are employed. What steps women can take?
Sir, can you repeat your question?
Okay. Sir, I wanted your advice on if at all women want to work in a political area or any male dominated fields, how would you suggest? How can we go about it? How can we start?
Sir, I will recommend it and tell you some solution that is in general, I think it covers all of them. We have many challenges in Afghanistan and India in the world. So I think at first we must increase funding for family. Why? Because they need to improve their empowerment. So they cannot empowerment without any funding. National government should increase budgetary allocation for family planning and seek donor support as necessary. And also ensure that the medical community support the family planning strategy or no. If they cannot support, we must increase and support their funding. It can be by donor, it can be by organization, international organization, it can be by government. The other suggestion is reduce the incidence of early marriage. I told we have a challenge that was early marriage. So how can we reduce the incidence of early marriage? National government of countries having a high incidence of early marriage among adults and women should develop cultural sensitive strategy to promote the delay of marriage. In Afghanistan and India, it happens every day and every time. And the other suggestion is ensure that adolescents and young people have access to sexuality education. National authorities, educators, and non-governmental organizations should collaborate to develop courses that provide adolescents with relevant information on human sexuality and empower them to make responsible decisions regarding their sexual lives. In particular, by development their negotiation skill addressing gender. In Afghanistan, unfortunately, we don't have in our high education or another primary education, secondary education, school, we don't have sexuality education. But the women don't know anything. When we compare to another country like Europe, American, they have many things. They ensure that adults and young people have access to the sexuality education. Another suggestion is engage the medical system in a commitment to provide sexual and reproductive health services to adults and young people. Unfortunately, many societies, they don't have access. I think national authorities and the medical community should ensure that family planning and information about how to prevent sexually transmitted infection are an integral part of the minimum health care package offered to adults and young people under primary care and remove legal, financial, and cultural obstacles that prevent or limit their access to sexual and reproductive. In finance, I suggest support in agribusiness. You know, when we want to improve the empowerment of women in economic, working in partnership with women's business groups and non-governmental organizations promote women to take on roles as intermediaries to ensure better terms to trade and train male intermediaries in gender equality. Also, I suggest promote gender parity in contracts, services, and resources, focuses on agriculture businesses. You know, in India, many of people serving in agri-business. In Afghanistan, it also happened. Many of women are serving in agribusiness, but they are not supported by the government. They are not supported by the national organization or international organization. Also, I suggest to the government or international government, it can find a positive point. For example, support a small business in micro enterprises, community-led organizations. We have a model in Afghanistan that happened 4 years ago that did in Herat province. So those women use their small business and get micro enterprises. Now they're in better situation. I think it can be helped. In conflict, I suggest contributing to the education and skill development of women. Unfortunately, many of women in Afghanistan, they don't have enough education. They don't have enough skills to resolve their conflict. Also, I suggest developing women as entrepreneurs and mentoring them. Why they cannot do? I think they don't have access. Also, I suggest we must make a building system that make educators, which educator accountable for the success of their schools. Also, installing a culture of teaching and learning with families, with fathers, with mothers, with brothers, with other relatives and communities. I read an article, they are suggested in United States, they use an installers of culture teaching. So in Afghanistan, we don't have, but in India, I'm not sure. I think you have in city, but I'm not sure you have in rural plus or not. I think it can improve the empowerment of women and girls. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing this, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now I want to ask you one question. Sir, am I audible, sir? Sir, am I audible? Sir, am I audible to you?
Audible?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I think the internet is so slow. Sometimes your voice is cut.
Okay, sir. Can you? Okay, sir. I'm really curious to know how you conquered all the difficulties around you in your country to gain education, to get success in the academic field. Your struggle.
If I heard correctly, unfortunately in Afghanistan, in this time, we don't have any institution that can help to the women. They work for empowerment of girls and women. Unfortunately, in this time, no university, no one can help to the women, because we have a government they governed by Islamic religions, and they says our hijab in Afghanistan is the best role. If you want to go to school or university or make an institution that can help for women, they must do hijab. But when we ask from hijab, they don't know. Just they say we are going to make an act for hijab. It's not clear when that means. If I had your question.
Sir, actually, I want to know your personal experience. Sir, your personal experience to gain your knowledge of how you struggle to gain knowledge in your education.
Yeah, I think it is a big history. Unfortunately, in Afghanistan, we have a lot of problems. I studied my diploma in Ghazni province. After that time, I went to Kabul University. I studied my law at Kabul University. After the time, I went to Iran. I got a scholarship from University of International Ahlul Bayt University. and also for master degree. And also I got a scholarship from University of Tehran because I was a top student. They have a role. If those students have a top grade, they can apply for a scholarship. I applied. Fortunately, they accepted my request. After that time, I came to Afghanistan, and now I'm working at university. I'm going to get another scholarship or fellowship or opportunity to research about violence against women, about another field of women, because unfortunately in Afghanistan, all women forgotten by the government. All women forgotten by the people. All means, unfortunately, off their eyes. No one see. There are 50% of population, they live in society, they make our society, but they closed their eyes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, this is Merlin. I'm from Human Rights Group 4. I feel privileged to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I would like to thank Dr. Asadullah Radman for sparing his valuable time for us and gracing this event. It is an honor to have your presence with us, sir. By your valuable insights on challenges faced by women, you have given a new viewpoint to consider. You emphasized on the need of education in rural areas and also the need of employment for girl child, which can have a positive impact on the society. This is really an eye-opener and inspiring too. Thank you. Further, I would like to thank my deep sense of gratitude to the head of the Law Department, Dr. Swati Rautela. She is always supportive and her assistance in conducting such programs is truly appreciated. I would like to thank our dear Professor Dr. Alka Patil, who took the initiative and arranged this fantastic session. Thank you for all your efforts. Special thanks to all the faculty members, technical staff, and all who helped in conducting the session. A big thank you to all the students and audience for their participation. Thank you, one and all. Let's conclude this program with our national anthem, requesting all to rise. Thank you.
Merlin, please, you can on your this thing video. Tell to other also so that it will come on live channel.
Sure, ma'am.
Rest of the other professor, I don't know who is there, but Dipali madam is also there. So Dipali madam, Bindya, Merlin, those who are here, please at least for 1 second you can put on your video and then you can close so that it will be considered. And then Bindya, you can just go to the next one.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Bindya, go.
Thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, we can start Jana Gana Mana now.
Punjab हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जगति तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Have a good time.
Thank you, sir.